Hello, I'm pleased to meet you. My name is Robert Todd Michael. I have two doctorates, one in medicine and one in the ministry. My undergraduate degree is in psychology, a 5-year degree with double minors in philosophy and English. I was admitted to the Mensa Society in 1986. Most people just call me Dr. Todd now. It's a little less formal than Dr. Michael. I'm here at Award Editing to help you. Particularly, I work with foreign professors and teachers, graduate students, but also with plenty of Americans, American professionals. I help even people write books, but I work on all kinds of things like your thesis, proposals, grants, papers, essays, even important emails. My most regular customers will very often call me and say, I have to send a very important email immediately. Would you take a look at it right away? And I try to be available as often as I can to immediately work for you on some special projects. I have personally written 16 books, and I've published 3 of them in New York with Todd Penguin, a very distinguished firm there. And I've sold about, not very many, about 60,000, which makes me a very mid-level author. But I did win the Nebula Award for the best spiritual book of the year in 2005. And of the 5 finalists, 2 of the others were Nobel Prize winners, Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. So I'm bragging a little bit about myself, but I want you to know that I know what I'm doing. When I submitted that book to Mitch Horowitz, the executive editor at Todd Penguin, he told the copy readers that it was a perfect book, and I quote him. He said, "Don't touch anything. Don't leave every sentence alone. Don't add or delete a word. Just fix the tiny typological things that were there when there weren't any of any significance." My books have been translated now into 7 different languages. I have 22 years of experience in writing. My background is as an emergency and trauma physician. I worked in that field for 25,000 hours over a 20-year period. It's an extremely difficult field, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to last more than about 20 years. Some people can last 10 years in emergency and trauma. Some last 30, I lasted about 20. But I knew that at some point I was going to have a backup career. And so I retired in my mid-50s and became a full-time writer and speaker. I know how hard it can be to come from a foreign country and fight your way to the top. You have to fight to get here. A foreign graduate student or foreign professor is a person who is truly distinguished in his or her field, possibly a genius level intellect, and needs to be treated as such. English is a very difficult language, and the last thing you want is for there to be anything but the most polished, artful, careful, best presentation of your thoughts and ideas that you can possibly get. You don't want the language barrier to get in the way at all, and that's where I come in. I also know that as a foreign professor or graduate student that you work extremely hard, harder than your American counterparts, and you cannot afford to wait for days or hours, or days or weeks or months for an editor to get your work back to you. You want to move quickly and you want to get your work back fast, so that is perhaps the most important thing that distinguishes my editing firm from others, that and the accuracy and artfulness by which we produce every paper. And I do the final edit, polish on every single thing that comes out of here. For me, editing is actually quite easy and fun compared to my job as an emergency and trauma medicine. I'm now living in Ames, Iowa, where I was born and raised. I have the typical values of a Midwest Iowan person. I'm a fifth-generation Iowan. My family lives here. We're honest, hardworking, and like you are. Honest, hardworking, and respectful. And we try to be humble, too. I hope that I am at all times with you. You deserve that. Where did I learn how to do editing and writing? That's a really good question, because and one that you should ask. I learned from a woman named Lori Rosen, who you can find on Google. She has edited over 50 New York Times bestsellers. She charges $200 an hour, and when I was an emergency physician, I could afford that. And I worked with her for a year and a half at $200 an hour, learning the subtleties of how to put that really, really excellent polish, that shine that distinguishes your work and makes it publishable even in New York. It has to meet those standards, and those standards are not met by most editors. You cannot tell how good an editor is by how much he or she charges. I can quite assure you of that. Don't be fooled. I charge $35 an hour. Why? Because I like to be really busy. And at that rate, I am as busy as I need to be. I used to charge $100 an hour, but many people cannot afford that, and I end up actually doing better at $35 an hour. So it's a good price, and the quality that you're going to get is unparalleled. I'll put it up against anybody else's. How does it work to get me involved? Well, that's the really, really easy part. All you have to do is call me and talk to me and tell me what kind of project that you're working on, of any size, and we have a chat about it. Then you attach that to an email as a Word document and send it to me, and I get to work almost right away. I try to stay ahead of my work, just like I did in the emergency room, where it can be deadly to get behind. You cannot do that. You may have 4 or 5 people dying at the same time. You cannot get behind. You cannot make any mistakes. And in my 25,000 hours, I was never sued. I was fast and accurate. But for me now, editing is so much easier than that, and so much more relaxed, that I actually think that it's kind of fun, and I really enjoy and love my work. And I love my customers too. I form relationships. You are a human being, and very often you may feel alienated coming from a foreign country, and you need to be treated with respect, dignity, and like the true master that you are. I know what it takes to, because my partner is from an Asian country, and she's told me what it takes to get through all of those tests, and the TOEFL and the GRE, and fight your way to the top, and then have to approach and achieve tenure. You need somebody on your team that will get a lot of work done like you do, really fast, really quickly, and really accurately. And because you're such a brilliant person, or you wouldn't be where you are, I know you're brilliant, you need writing that reflects that very accurately, so that when someone picks up your work and reads it, it is not just good English or correct. It blows them away. It really makes a fantastic impression. That's what I try to do for all my clients. If you try me one time, I don't think you'll ever use another editor, and not only that, you'll refer your friends and colleagues to me, and they will thank you for it. I promise to treat all of them with dignity, respect, and with the highest degree of accuracy and skill that I can achieve. If you have any questions at all, just call me. 515-450-0831. If I don't pick up, just leave a message and I'll call you back. We'll talk about your project as soon as we can and get started and finish it right away. I want you to have someone on your team that will make your life more carefree, easier, more relaxed, and give you a sense of deep reliability so that you can be the very best you. It was a pleasure meeting you. Good day.